To be very honest, I meet a lot of people who say, oh my God, I hate Githeri. I used to be one of those people until, of course, I added a little bit of twist to my Githeri. My Githeri is bomb.com, and that is what we're whipping up on this episode of Miss Mandi Throwdown. Now, when it comes to Githeri, I've noticed there's a couple of things that you need to tweak in order to make it better. One, I use sweet corn. I don't use normal maize. Two, I definitely use coconut milk in my beans. So I cook the beans separate and then I add the sweet corn that I've boiled into the Githeri, into the beans rather. And then I always use spices into it. I will put in a little bit of cumin, a little bit of Maggi cube. Tomato paste is very important in this. A little bit of ginger and garlic. So let's get to it. First things first, we're gonna start with boiling our sweet corn. Okay, let's cut them in half. Makes it easier for shaving. We're gonna leave that to boil, and then we're gonna take our other pot and put it on our big burner and let it get hot, and then start things off with, of course, putting some cooking oil into it. So this is half an onion diced, and I'm currently obsessed with white onion. You can, of course, use red. I'm gonna turn down the heat to medium-high. I'm gonna be adding in just a little bit of salt into the onions. Helps to make them sweat. So they've been cooking for about 1.5 minutes now. We're just gonna add in just a little bit of ginger and just a bit of garlic as well. Smells so beautiful already. So we just want the ginger and the garlic to cook until it's fragrant for about 20 to 30 seconds. And then we're gonna add in our tomatoes. Now, since we want the tomatoes to, of course, set the foundation of flavors, we're just stirring it into the onions, ginger, and garlic. And then we're gonna go ahead and add in our spices so that the tomatoes can cook with spice. We're gonna start with cumin, about 3/4 teaspoon, some black pepper, about 1 teaspoon of paprika, 1 Maggi cube, just gonna crash it and sprinkle it around. And of course some garlic. So I have a mason jar with water. I'm not gonna add all of it, I'm just gonna add some. And then we're just gonna cover up the tomatoes so that they can cook with the spices. So we're just gonna mash down the tomatoes. I'm turning down the heat to completely low now as I mash these tomatoes down. I've finely chopped some dania, cilantro that I'm just gonna put in. It's a huge heap of tomato paste. As you can notice, the color is transforming to a sexier red. Now, the water is just to control. Now we're just controlling the thickness that we need from this. Of course, you guys know I'm gonna taste this because I need to adjust. One thing's for sure is I need more salt. I've been under salting my food mainly because I feel like everybody should always have control of that now, as opposed to salting it to the right. You know, my father complains about the salt. And also jeans, so I'm trying to keep up with the fact that I want to reduce on my salt, especially this year. Now I'm gonna crack in the other Maggi cube. Also, another thing with the Maggi cubes is that they're very salty. So be cautious on how much salt you're adding with how many, of course, Maggi cubes you're using as well. And then add in the coconut milk. I've added in some water into my coconut milk. It's a habit I picked up from my mom. She hates wasting product. And I used to say growing up, I never want to be that person, just throw it away. And I'm like, dude, there's so much product in there. I'm gonna add in the rest of my ginger and garlic. Also some just loose dania hanging on my chopping board. So we're just gonna cover it and let it simmer together. So it's been simmering together for about 1 minute. Again, taste, taste, taste. Oh my God, oh my God. We're gonna add in our beans into this. So it's been about 3 to 4 minutes. And listen, It smells fabulous in my house. Now I'm gonna turn this off and let it continue cooking with a little heat that it has as the sweet corn is getting ready. So the sweet corn is done and ready. I'm going to drain this water. And because we don't want to burn ourselves when we're shaving the corn, I'm just gonna run them through some cold water. And then you're just gonna go ahead and shave it off. Now I know some of you are wondering, can you use canned sweet corn? That's really up to you. I'm personally not a fan, but it would still actually work. We're gonna relight our coconut beans. We're just gonna put the corn in here. Just gonna stir it in. I'll cover this and just let it simmer together for about a minute or two. So it's been about a minute and a half now, 2 minutes actually. Just gonna stir everything together. So it's time for my favorite part, which is serving, and then of course eating. This meal took about 30 to 45 minutes to whip up, mainly because you have to include prep. I poured myself a glass of wine at some point. I don't know, I just had some adulting big girl stuff to do. All I'm gonna say is, if you hate Githeri, switch it up. Add some coconut milk into it, some tomato paste, some more love, some cumin. And trust you me, this recipe will change how you view Githeri. Before I dig in, I want to remind you to like, comment, subscribe, share this recipe with somebody who makes some bland Githeri. Don't tell them that the Githeri is bland, but just put them onto that nunu. That's what happens right here on Miss Mandi Throwdown. What else would you like to see on the channel? I'm waiting for those comment sections below. Give this video a thumbs up, guys. It's hot as though.